Game 1, Rockets are facing off with the Golden State Warriors. And there are a couple of questions that people are asking. Number one is Game 1 a must win for the Houston Rockets? And number two, who has the most pressure? The answer to the first question is, of course, Game 1 is a must win for the Houston Rockets. I picked the Golden State Warriors to win this series in 6 or 7 games. If the Houston Rockets lose Game 1, and all that talk about getting home court advantage and wanting the Warriors, building a team just for the Warriors, if they go ahead and lose Game 1 by any margin, even if it's close, even if it's just a game winner, this series will end in 5 games or a sweep. They have to win Game 1, regardless of what anybody's telling you, regardless of people stating that this is, it's not a must win and this game is equally important. It's more important for the Houston Rockets for the psychological factor, and it's also due to the value of them having home court advantage. If they relinquish home court advantage Game 1, series is over. The series is over before it even started. So that's number one. It's a must win. They have to go in there like, this is the tone that we're setting. First of all, the reason why it's a must win is because you don't want to relinquish home court advantage to the Golden State Warriors. Number two, you definitely want to set the tone that they can't come in your gym and just do whatever they want to do. They're going to have to go through you. A lot of people are holding a lot of weight in the fact that, hey, Golden State Warriors were beaten by the Houston Rockets 2 out of 3 times that they faced off. The first time that they faced off was ring night, and it was overtime. They won by 1 point. The second win that they got was like 116 to 108. James Harden hit a crazy step back jumper over Stephen Curry. That game was very close, and in that game, Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson, they didn't shoot well. And it's kind of weird that I'm saying this, but the 2 games that Houston did win, Curry and Thompson didn't shoot well, and the Warriors were still in the game. They were like right there. The game was for the taking. So imagine when those guys do shoot well. Imagine when Kevin Durant does give you like 35, 40 points or whatever. That's why this Game 1 is very important. It sets the tone. It maintains home court advantage. And then they have to guard against losing home court advantage in Game 2. They have to do what they're supposed to do, which is win both games at home. If they drop any one of those games at home, they're in a world of trouble. And I mean this wholeheartedly, because they don't have the pedigree to say, hey, we've been here, we've been in the Western Conference Finals, and we dropped a Game 1 before. It's no big deal. Chris Paul has never been there. James Harden has been in the Western Conference Finals before, but it didn't pan out too well for him. And his recent playoff performances hasn't panned out as much as it should have. So that's number one. Number one, they have to win Game 1, at all costs. They have to fight, scrap. They have to win that Game 1 just to show the Warriors, hey, man, we're serious about this. We want to go to the NBA Finals. Not we want to beat you. They got to stop focusing on the Warriors. They have to focus on the goal, which is winning a title. Winning a title means that you play championship basketball. You're not necessarily focused so much on the opponent as much as you're focused on the things it takes to beat the opponent. I feel like this entire season has been a referendum on them trying to dethrone the Warriors instead of just winning. Just play winning basketball, building the habits to win championships. Doesn't matter who you face. They built their team especially to beat the Warriors, which could help them in a short run, but hurt them in the long run. Let's just say they do get past the Warriors, and then they have to go against LeBron James, and they didn't prepare for that. Now you're in trouble. Second thing that we started the whole video about, who has more pressure? Is it D'Antoni? Is it the Rockets? Is it Houston? Is it Chris Paul? Is it Steve Kerr? Is it Golden State Warriors? At the end of the day, the person that has the most pressure in this entire series is James Harden. Number one, James Harden and Chris Paul haven't played well together in terms of them both having great games at the same time. In this Utah series and the Timberwolves series, it's always been one guy or the other guy, one guy or the other guy, one guy or the other guy. And this series is going to have to take both of them to play at a high level. And I feel like he can do it because I feel like when the competitive nature and the stakes rise, especially against the Warriors. For some reason, the Houston Rockets really get up for this team. He plays very well against them, for the most part, but he can't have any letdowns. He has to average 28 and 10 assists, 28 points, 10 assists, for them to even possibly get to a game 7, for them to win the series, period. But when we're talking about all this pressure stuff, it's on James Harden. We've seen him lose the Western Conference Finals back in 2015. He had like 12 turnovers. We've seen him get knocked out by the Spurs. I think it was a game that Kawhi Leonard I think he didn't even play or something like that. It was just a really bizarre game. We see him lose a series like that. Got shut down. And now this is the third go around. Like, you can't have any letdowns. You have to have a great series because it's all riding on you. Everything that the Rockets are is due to James Harden. You know, like a lot of people could put it on CP3 and CP3 does this, but let me tell you something. Let James Harden have 2 or 3, or let him have two bad games. And you're relying on CP3 to run the offense, whatever the case is. You're going to turn that team back into the Clippers. And you saw what happened to the Clippers. Got swept by the Spurs, got knocked out by the Warriors before. That's not a good recipe. Like, James Harden has the most pressure. He has to fulfill his duty, his promise. He has to fulfill his obligation to play like an MVP, not just in the regular season, but in the playoffs. I mean, honestly, they play really well. Playoffs is a different animal. The Golden State Warriors is a different animal. You know, they should win these 2 games at home. They should win these 2 games at home. You know, based on, you know, the 50-5 with Capella, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm telling you guys this right now. If A, they lose one of those 2 games at home, or B, James Harden doesn't step up to the pressure, it's over. That series is over. Series is over. They cannot have any letdowns. See, that's the difference between them and the Warriors. Warriors, hey, Warriors, Stephen Curry, he can have a bad game. Klay Thompson can have a bad game. Kevin Durant can have a bad game. Draymond Green, he can have a bad game. Because one of those other guys is going to pick him up. With the Rockets, it's only one other guy to pick you up because you can't rely on Clint Capella to give you 20 and 10 without you facilitating for him. You can't rely on PJ Tucker getting you a bunch of points unless you're facilitating for him. So if Chris Paul or James Harden can't facilitate or have great games, the other guys suffer and they're following their lead. With the Warriors, there's nobody following anybody's lead. It's just Steph get us going, let's move the ball, and whoever is hot. That's it. So game 1 though, must win. James Harden, most pressure. That's what it's gonna go. Great to see the series. It's gonna be an interesting series.